2, 1, go.
Hey everybody, my name is Queuety. I'm here to run Fullmetal Alchemist Dual Sympathy. Alongside me is my good friend Glitch. Say hello to everybody.
Yo, what's up, gamers? I'm Glitched. I'm one of the hosts for the event, and I've also run this game a decent amount myself. A while back, the leaderboard was really inactive, and I saw the game on eBay and thought, hey, this looks pretty fun, let's run it. So Queuety has taken this game to a totally new level since I've touched it, but I'll at least be able to give you guys the old perspective of how things have changed, so it'll be a good time.
Yeah, and, well, I mean, that leads me into a shout-out I was going to save for the end, but, you know, shout-out to Glitched for doing a lot of the early routing, a lot of the strats that I still use, I stole from him. So, I added my twist to a couple of spots, but, you know, 90% of what you're going to see he came up with originally, so, you know, had to have him on commentary. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what this game is, this is a DS game. As you can see by the copyright, it's about 20 years old. Came out, I think, 3 days before the first Fullmetal Alchemist movie. So it's technically a movie tie-in, even though it goes through the events of the series. If you're like me, I've only seen Brotherhood. Playing this game was a weird experience.
Oh, interesting.
I got halfway through and I was like, oh, this looks like what I'm used to, and then I was like, what the heck is happening?
Yeah, no, 2003 is totally different. It was in a weird spot where the manga was kind of, you know, about even with the pacing of the anime, so they kind of had to wing it and come up with their own stuff. So you'll see some interesting plot points in the gameplay here.
And as you can tell from our, I guess, idle screen or whatever's going on in the title, it takes a lot of clips, a lot of artwork, a lot of voice work directly from the anime, so it's super cool if you want to play it casually. We're gonna skip, like, all of that. I mean, all of that. This run is quick, and we're gonna go through however many seasons of anime in like 5 minutes a season kind of thing. So it's gonna be fun. But with that, we can probably get started and talk as we go. So
yep, let's do it.
Oh, and the other thing to note is this is a DS game, hence Dual Sympathy. They gotta, you know, put in the DS theming. One screen is gonna be kind of like an action beat 'em up side scroller, and then the other side is going to be the touch screen where we do alchemy, cast abilities, play mini games, all that fun stuff. It's an interesting dynamic to control in a speedrun, and I'm sure we'll talk about that more a little bit later. But we can go ahead and get started. So if we're ready for a count.
We can do it right now. So let's go ahead on 3, 2, 1, go.
And right away, we're going to skip about 5 episodes of cutscenes.
Yep. We start off kind of at the beginning of the anime here, where we are kind of having to go after Father Cornello for misleading the people with, you know, the miracles of alchemy. He's got a bunch of goons out here, you know, defending his palace and his church and whatnot. So Queuety's going to be using a lot of the cannon. The cannon is like probably one of the most broken bits of alchemy in the game. It takes out lots of enemies at once, and he's also going to be running towards the right here to kind of pull all the spawns towards him and not spread them out.
And apparently one did not want to cooperate. I don't know where the last... Oh!
Yeah, sometimes they just take forever to spawn, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
Even if you try to manipulate it, they'll just spawn wherever they want sometimes.
And this is our first little mini game. You gotta click the dots. These patterns change every time, so sometimes you'll get a really easy one, and it's like super fast. Sometimes it's a little bit more finicky. And for reference, this is a reset-heavy game, so I reset 95% of the time on that first screen if I get a pattern like that. So
oh yeah,
that was not an ideal start, but that's all good.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens to these shorter games. Like, you kind of can't afford as much time save, so if little tiny things happen, it's like, well, let's go again.
And surprisingly, these spikes are actually a really tight timing. We're going to try to get through them without, as I say, I run right into it.
It's so hard. It's really hard. Like, you can avoid all the spikes if you time your runs and your jumps, like, pretty well. He did a great job at it there. But, yeah, sometimes the edge of the spike hitboxes are just a little bit bigger than they look, and you'll run into them by accident.
Push that guy over so the cannon will hit him.
Yeah, it's actually kind of fun to group up enemies and just kind of take them all out at once in this game. Some of the enemies are pretty wild. These guys are pretty tame, I would say. They just kind of stand around and wait to get grouped up. But there's some like homunculus enemies and stuff that we fight later that are actually kind of dangerous. So combat gets interesting as well.
I almost missed that barrel jump.
Oh man. Alright, so yeah, we're just fighting more waves of enemies here. As you can see on the bottom of the screen, you'll see a bunch of, I think it's called the Fullmetal symbol. Just kind of the symbol that Edward has on his jacket there. Those represent basically how much alchemy you have charged up. You charge up alchemy by fighting multiple enemies and just using it and whatnot itself. So you can hold down the touchscreen and charge up a powerful alchemy attack. You'll see that at some point. But this is the Cornello boss, if you want to try to explain this, Queuety.
Yeah, well, this actually isn't the boss fight yet. He's just gonna talk a lot of smack to us, summon our first big chimera.
Oh yeah, the mini boss, the chimera, right.
And we're gonna see a lot of these, and we deal with them the same way every time, which is one of the strategies I stole from Glitched, which is cannon, jump kick to stun lock, and then dash attack. They'll get a little stronger as we go, and we might have to do a double combo, but we're gonna do that quite a bit.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's like the perfect amount of attacks and stuns to just take them out without them giving you any trouble. But yeah, those are the types of enemies, you see in a lot of fighting games or RPGs where they just become regular enemies later. So we're going to see a lot of those.
I always refer to them as behemoths because they look exactly like the Final Fantasy behemoths.
Right. Yeah. So what you just saw there, those that like electrical gate, those are color-coded, and they're color-coded based on like different alchemy types that you have. You can actually switch the types of alchemy that you're using, and they kind of use the different characters to represent it, like Mustang is flame alchemy, things like that. So they'll be color-coded a specific way, and you just swap your colors to eliminate those roadblocks. I think that one was just a default one, so it just used Edward's alchemy, right?
Yep. And then the next time we see it, I think it's Alphonse in the 5th laboratory, and then there's a couple where we have to switch back and forth, but they're pretty tame. There's one later in the game that occurs like immediately after running through a section. I always faceplant right into it.
Yeah, it's tough, man. So, we're fighting another Chimera here. So this is its own separate mini-boss. Yeah, if you mistime the combo, sometimes they'll get a bunch of invincibility frames, and it just is a little bit annoying, but you can take them out. But yeah, the Cornello fight's pretty simple. He really just spawns these big machine guns in between waves of enemies and whatnot. Each time you dodge all of these, it pretty much depletes his HP because he's abusing the powers of alchemy. He's not giving enough for the equivalent exchange. And he's taking that damage, so he's going to keep spawning these chimeras in between the guns that we're just going to dodge, and then eventually, alchemy will be his own undoing.
Yeah, I always just do a 3-punch on top of every cannon. I don't know why. I just kind of like slap.
I do too. Yeah, feels good to just press buttons sometimes,
Yeah, you don't want to just sit here doing nothing.
Exactly, you got to flex on them. So, there we go.
Yeah, when they stand up, their hitbox changes, and you can see I just kind of like whiffed.
Right. It does happen, yeah. But thankfully we have a lot of HP, and we haven't had any trouble with the guards up to this point, so didn't lose any health on the way.
Yeah, thankfully...
This should be the last wave.
Yeah, this is the last one. Thankfully, HP is not an issue for any fight whatsoever. I always try to end in the air, of course. For any fight whatsoever except the last level, you can get stun locked and lose a lot of HP. Hopefully that won't happen, but that's the only point in the game where taking damage is going to matter, like, at all.
Right, yeah.
And this
Alright, so we have classic train.
And this is just like the church, where Alphonse is going to join us as an AI partner. And just like the church, we do not want Al to touch anything. So I'm going to try to keep everything like flowing to the right as far away from Al as I can. Oh, I missed one.
Looking pretty good though. Good grouping so far. Sometimes a guy kind of gets out of the way there, but Alphonse actually taking out someone? Okay.
Yeah, Al actually helped me there. Stun locked one guy for me.
Yeah, so this is one of the touchscreen minigames. Because this is one of those DS games, this game is very touchscreen oriented. Yes, some of those are really weird. But there's a lot of touchscreen minigames in between chapters and sub-chapters in this game, so you'll see a lot of those with their own little unique clear conditions. But yeah, we're just fighting. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and you'll see here I have to switch back and forth on which alchemies I'm using for different sections of this. I'm putting weights on top of these guys who are popping out. But to do this, I kind of have to switch back and forth on the touchscreen while doing the running. And if I don't jump kick at the right point, this dude will stun lock me into oblivion with these bullets.
Oh yeah, right. No, yeah, the guys that are peeking out from the little hatch or in the train, yeah, those guys shoot projectile bullets that will constantly keep you in a stun loop. It is really painful. I did forget about those. So we want to try to put these weights down as quickly as we can so that we don't get stun locked by those gun-wielding guys. Uh-oh. Okay, there we go.
I didn't kill as many along the way as I would have liked, but it's alright.
Yeah, it's all good. As long as we don't get knocked around too much, it's perfectly fine.
And you can see, it took me like over 100 runs of this game before I noticed there's an enemy counter in the top left. I'm embarrassed to say.
Oh, really?
I took this game up only with the intention of speedrunning it, so like I never had a true casual playthrough.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same for me. Like, I just looking for new anime games to run, and I saw it pop up on eBay. I'm like, oh, there's a DS game? Sure, man. So I know exactly how you feel. There's a lot of things I didn't recognize until a couple playthroughs in.
And here I'm trying to manipulate the spawns to keep them on the same side as the boxes so that I can destroy the boxes at the same time. It doesn't always work, but of that time...
That's pretty big brain.
Come on, line up for me.
There we go. There you go. Yeah, and thankfully whenever we do use the cannons and any type of alchemy, we do get like a little bit of a freeze frame, so the enemies aren't going to like, walk out of range of us at the last minute or anything. But
those guys can shoot while Al is midair and stun lock you into the fire, so thankfully that didn't happen there. When I say this game is reset heavy, I mean it.
It is, yeah, especially when you've optimized it to this level, like... Every little mistake and, stun lock especially, because that happens a lot in this game. They count. So, we gotta make sure that we avoid that stuff the best we can.
Oh, this is the good pattern. The around the world.
Good old diamond gaming. Tight shaped. So, alright. Uh-oh. Good lineup, though. Good first trio of enemies there. I'm pretty sure the hatches on the train are gone at this point, and we're just kind of clearing everything out until we head to the main cart.
Oh yeah. And this is our first time actually drawing alchemy, I believe.
Yep. So you basically have to draw the outlines of the, transmutation circles here. It's kind of interesting. It works like it's a fill in the lines type of thing, where you can just color over it if you want, and it fills in. You don't exactly have to color it in the circle or whatever shape, as long as you fill out the opaque lines and whatnot.
And here we're just going to try to cycle lock Bald. We're just going to look for what move he uses, and then just abuse it.
Yep. And Cannon, once again, the GOAT, doing a bunch of damage. We just punish all of his phases with Cannon, and he's out real quick, so... Really strong alchemy there.
I do wish it had a little bit more variety.
I know, right?
But that's speedrunning for you, You use whatever's the best.
Yep, you find that broken tool and you spam it. So this is actually really interesting. This is one of Queuety's big contributions to this game, is an updated strategy for the Mustang fight. Mustang will snap his fingers and shoot different patterns of flame walls at you, or just general flame plumes and things. So Queuety's kind of managed to figure out a strat to make this a lot faster, I believe by about a minute or so, right?
Yep. And so what happens is he does this wall, and originally you're not supposed to be able to... Let's make sure I can do it first. You're not supposed to be able to do what I just did. You're supposed to run all the way back and dodge it. And I came up with a few different safety strats, but that one's the fastest, where you just kind of swag through it. But you gotta it's pretty tight timing. I line up with this window, and then I stutter step through it. I don't always get it, but thankfully, so far 2 for 2.
Great. Yeah.
You gotta do it 4 times. A couple of other strats I came up with is I can put a stone wall behind me and use that to stop the knockback from the firewall. And then another one is you can actually shoot Mustang from halfway across the screen if you, like I said, little tight timing on there.
No worries.
And then this is another level where I said, like, health doesn't matter. I try to dodge these because, it's cleaner, but you don't really have to. You could just sit here and eat all the fire if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, because Mustang is totally invincible until like that last round of flames here that you can punish.
Alright,
And once that is done, yeah, that's pretty good, man. Especially for doing commentary at the same time. That was nice. So, very good strategy there.
Now we get to chop some wood.
Oh yeah, with our main man Armstrong. So we're just putting down the wood for Armstrong to chop with his bare fist. Just smashing into it onto another log and chopping it into pieces for us.
And these
So we're just gonna put
spawns-
down this time.
I was gonna say these spawns are random, so I just kind of keep my my little cursor in the middle here, and they get slowly faster and faster. You have 3 lives or 3 Armstrongs in the corner there, so if you miss one, you know, not ideal, but it's not gonna be a big deal. Oh, that one's pretty far away. Okay. Ideally,
Nice.
you don't want the last one to be that far away, but yeah, it's all good.
Yep. All right, good mini game. Not bad. No fails.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're getting
both
to the
know.
scary one.
We both know what's coming up.
Yeah, so this game has some evil mini games, especially, you know, if you're not playing with the traditional touchscreen setup and you're using like a controller or something. There's heavy touchscreen related mini games in this that kind of punish you for not using the touchscreen the same way. So we'll see that here coming shortly. We're just going to dodge these cleavers here. We don't want to get pushed back into them. Dodge all the bats, and we're going to head into another mini game zone where we kind of have to sneak past all of these traps and whatnot.
And what we're going to do is, again, damage doesn't matter, so the fastest way to get through this is just get stabbed in the face with a spike. So we're just going to intentionally fail this. Now, there is a, what is it, 1 in 16 chance that it actually starts on the square that I'm spamming, in which case it gets real awkward, but...
Yeah.
And then this is the nightmare, so I'm gonna... I have a very unconventional grip for how I get through this. This is the bane of this video game.
Yeah, so we were talking about Indiana Jones earlier. This is another one of those moments where you're running from the big boulder. It's going to squash you. So this is extremely hard with a controller because what the game wants you to do is it wants you to use your finger and your DS stylus for each foot. You alternate. But when you're on a controller, you can't really swap back and forth without having to like ram your analog stick back and forth. So Queuety's actually doing a great job at getting through this on the controller setup. First try, man. Awesome. That thing can stun lock you. You can fail that thing multiple times just because of how unresponsive it can be.
And if you do, it's a workout too. If you do that 2 or 3 times, you're like sweating.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna be swole, big muscles. But we got number 66. This dude's a lot like Alphonse, so that's kind of what the lesson is here when they meet these guys, is, you know, that there are others out there like them who've, you know, fallen victim to alchemy, but some become corrupted. They're trying to avoid that on their path to restoring themselves.
There is actually like a tight frame perfect, you can stop the spin. I missed it every single time, but you can, in theory, get that.
Yeah, so they're brothers, I believe, 48 and 66, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I've seen 2003, but they're basically the same as Edward and Alphonse in a lot of ways. But, yeah, both of these bosses are relatively easy, especially this guy. He kind of just gets destroyed after you set down that statue to bait him. You go behind him and, you know, just knock him with the cannon a couple times, dodge a couple attacks. It's very easy.
And I always stand on his head while I do it. I don't know why.
Just to flex.
I think in theory, if I stand all the way back, I can still hit him, and it might be like 40
A
seconds.
little bit faster. Yeah. No big deal. So this part is interesting. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say you can just run straight through that if you take the top lane as soon as you spawn out. And this part, hopefully, okay, thank God.
Yeah, that's a really tight jump, pretty much. It's funny, he was pretty much standing inside of the first spike, and it didn't even bother him. But the previous spike, he was barely touching it, and it knocked him down. So they're kind of a weird hitbox, but yeah, you just want to traverse through those traps the best you can, tight jumps, and then we're going to fight a bunch of actual homunculi and chimeras, so...
I just kind of wait for him to pop out, and then we do the same strat we do every time.
Oh.
I'm getting...
I'm surprised the iframe through that.
Yeah, I'm not doing great on these chimera today.
Hey, it's all good.
Hopefully
And then we got
this
the
one
big...
gets stuck in the corner a lot of times, so that's helpful.
Oh yeah, nice. That was great. Yeah, we got the big Cerberus looking gamer, and we're gonna head into another room full of these things.
And
Oh yeah, this is Tucker, I believe.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I assume the 2003 has, what is it, Nina with the
It does. It actually has a way more brutal representation of that scene than Brotherhood, surprisingly. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, I feel like 2003 is really what put that in people's memories for anime. But this right here, this is a stealth minigame. Basically, you just want to avoid that hunter at the top. You're trying to steal his food. So you're just trying to sneak by with Alphonse. You want to knock the fox away as well. So you're doing all this with the touch screen. You're moving and you're calling Alphonse with the little speaker in the top right, and you're just avoiding the dude's line of sight and any foxes that come by because they also want to steal the fish. So you just got to get there before you get captured or before the fox gets there first.
And where this guy goes is kind of RNG, so you can actually, depending on where he decides to go, lose 30 seconds if he goes the wrong way. I'm taking this like super safe.
Yeah, that's the right thing to do. I was just about to say, like, this, if you're trying to go fast, can also kind of be a run killer because he does take random patterns and he can kind of bait you and make you think, oh, wait, he's coming this way. And then you get caught and it's all over. Back to the start.
Yeah, you saw there, he just kind of hovered right by the fish for like 30 seconds.
Exactly. Yeah, and that gets real scary. Sometimes you kind of anticipate it and you go too early and you're like, oh, man. So that was a good job. Very good job keeping it safe. And this is the first greed boss fight.
I always just kind of hang out in his armpit, I say, and then you punch him 4 times slowly. Or you let him hit you, whichever one feels right.
we got the stanky leg. We got the kickoff.
He'll still die here. I got a little too close to the armpit, so it's supposed to look like that.
Yeah, and the reason you do those little light jabs there is because it doesn't activate the longer invincibility frames that like a finisher part of your combo would. So you can really just kind of like jab him a couple times and it's not going to knock him down hard into like a long invincibility window. So you can whittle his health down to where a couple cannons will knock him out before it gets too long.
So right now we're going kind of through a maze. Thankfully we know everywhere to go. But every time we have one of those long empty patches, we're going to spawn enemies, and I'm listening for a sound cue as to when to jump. So that little like portal is I know they've spawned, and then I can jump kick them. And then we come back over here and kill whatever spawned on this side. And they did not line up.
Yeah, these guys can spread out weirdly in this area.
That's the one I said I always face plant right into.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's going to be there. It's blended into the forest, man. It's green. What can we say?
Yeah, I have to admit, I'm not running this every day like I used to.
Yeah,
so like, that one, that's still getting me. And then up here, we're gonna have to run or jump over a fire. This fire in particular is the hitbox on it is a little wonky, and it can actually hit you on top of that. We got away with it though.
Yep, nice, good stuff.
And we just that is not what I wanted to do.
Come on.
And then we gotta switch back to Edward here.
Yep, see the book matches the color code of the battery looking things here.
Yeah, and you can tell we also get Mustang, we also get don't too quick, but that's alright. We also get
I think like Armstrong, Riza.
And if you do New Game Plus, you can actually play as Mustang and some of the other characters. I think you can play as Scar too. I have not done that, but it's.
I haven't either. It sounds really cool, honestly.
I mean, we can open up a new like Mustang category.
All right, man. Yeah, new chapter in FMADS runs, dude. Sounds fun.
I mean,
these guys.
I'm back in practice now, so I gotta get a new run.
Yeah, man. Top form. That's what we like to see. I was thinking about doing like my own D-Rust runs before the event as well, but I just kind of watched over our runs and was like, okay, I see what's new now. That's cool. Yeah, here's the next greed fight. So he's actually going into hardened gamer mode. He's gonna get his hard shell on. So this one's a little bit tougher than the first one. He likes to have these phases where he kind of slashes around at you. He'll jump slash you, swipe you, like tackle you. You just want to avoid them until he kind of jumps down from the air. He's going to jump up, and then once he lands is when he's vulnerable, I believe. He jumped up there.
I have to use the alchemy here first, but yeah.
Yep, that's right. You use the alchemy, and then you punch him a couple times, just like the first phase, into a cannon. And if you do it enough times, you should be able to take him out within a few less cycles than it would normally take without it.
Yeah, it's 2 cannons and 8 punches. Sometimes you can do 3 and 5 punches. I usually try to do 4 and 4, but if you mess up the spacing, it won't screw it up too much.
Right.
And done.
Awesome. That was a really good fight. 2 phases, pretty much.
Yeah. We
Good
do
stuff.
have, I think it's Sloth in the 2003 coming up. You can one cycle her, but it's super tight, so we're going to see if I can do that whenever that comes up, but...
Right.
Oh. Missed it. And this is, you know, more of what we've been doing. Keep running to the right, try to get them to come to me.
Yeah, it's easier to be on the opposite side of the screen where there's nowhere else for them to kind of spawn and roam around, because if you group them all in one corner like this, it's easier to get them together for like multiple attacks with the cannon or just even dash attacks with the combat.
Yeah, I saw one guy was... Oh. Okay. Good enough.
There he goes. Okay, not a bad spawning point.
Yeah, right at the exit. We'll take that.
Alright, so we're going down into dungeons now. So, this is where a lot of chimeras are also going to be attacking at once. They're usually pretty lined up on their own, but they do have pretty long invincibility from getting knocked down the first time.
And we're going to see this in a couple of... Oh, I didn't get that spawn.
Wow.
It's going terrible.
Oh, it's all good. We're making it.
Yeah, we got one more coming.
There you go.
And then this screen, I don't know what it is about this screen. It can do this where it bugs out until a bat comes down, and I don't know why.
That's weird. I haven't even seen that before. That's interesting. Alright, yeah, so we're just kind of charging to the end of the room on the left side here just to get down the stairs. We do have to clear everything out in terms of the chimeras before we can go. Once you see that little go symbol is whenever the area opens up to leave. And we're just kind of doing the same thing, cannoning our way through. See the cow got bodied in the background there. These enemies were just too much for him. He couldn't take it. So he just passed out back there.
And the little cows that you see bouncing around are actually health. So you pick them up and they heal. This is where we get to do the super alchemy.
Oh yeah, so all these red symbols here, when we charge it, we're going to be using all of that to make one giant cannon. So regular cannons weren't strong enough, we got to use the big golden one, so exploding the entire screen.
Well, for some reason, this guy's just chilling.
That guy likes to live a lot. I don't know why. It's happened to me a lot too. He's real low profile, I guess.
And I'm taking this game really slow because for some reason the targeting on this particular puzzle is super precise, and if you miss it, you have to redo the whole room. So I was just taking it intentionally a little bit slow.
Right.
I've actually lost like 3 or 4 runs just because I screwed up that. Oh, dude, stop running backwards.
Yeah, he's like, no, please, no cannons. I've seen what you've done to my brethren.
And we're gonna have a couple more of these coming up, where we just kind of another cow.
Get that health, because why not, right?
I mean, it's literally jumping into me, so
yeah.
I love the freeze frame while they're in the air there.
I know, it's like so close to getting jumped, but the cannon always saves. So this is Wrath, which is interesting because this is the homunculus created by the child of Edward's teacher, basically. She couldn't carry her child because of some unfortunate circumstances and tried to bring it back with alchemy, similarly to how Edward tried to do with his mother. And homunculus was created with her child, so that's what Wrath is in 03. And Wrath is pretty interesting. Basically, he will do a couple flips and then throw some spikes at you from the sky. You just kind of want to run to the very far back of the room and avoid these. And once they have disappeared from the roof, you can just kind of run up and blast your cannon off. And pretty simple fight. His flipping is kind of easy to choreograph and, you know, read out.
And there's a few different strats. I know that you and I both do that fight differently. I use Mustang's alchemy. You kind of like animation lock him a little bit. With if you do one punch, you can make him flip, and I saw you doing that.
Oh yeah.
Now this is the sloth fight. If you do the timing like super precisely, you can actually one cycle her. I'm gonna see if I can get it. I think I missed a punch. Oh, did not get it.
Oh man, it's okay. It'll be a 2 cycle, which is still pretty fast. But yeah, the 1 cycle is a little bit of a tight timing. You basically do some precise combo setups into cannons, and she's only frozen for a certain amount of time, basically. So
yeah, you can see
after
I shot the cannon there, and she iframed it like, I don't know if that was 1 or 2 frames or something, but it's super tight.
Yeah. So yeah, for the last hit, you basically just kind of, shoot her again with the cannon, cause her to turn into a puddle, and then you transmutate it, and she's done.
Yeah, I think if I remember, you turn her into ethanol so that she evaporates or something.
Yeah, I think it's something like that, because she's got some interesting, like, water properties, so this is the last area of the game, I believe, or we're at least getting there. So these big heads basically are just kind of blocking the way. You just want to knock them out. Fastest is just do a couple punches into a cannon versus multiple combos, because these things also get iframes that last a while. So just doing the punches to knock it down enough to get broken by the cannon is the right thing to do.
A little bit more spikes. Oh, there was a gap between.
Oh, that was crazy. Ed lost his footing. He's like, "Whoa, man!"
Yeah, but then he still made it across. But it was
sometimes you just get bullied.
Yeah, just enough to cancel my jump there.
Right.
Hey,
yeah, that was perfect.
Clean runs are no fun, right? We want to see something interesting.
Exactly. So yeah, more of these guys. These guys are kind of the stronger enemies. I think they've gotten more health at this point, if I'm not mistaken. They just kind of become a little bit more annoying to take out. And they also spawn in higher numbers. So you're going to be getting, attacked multiple times over sometimes if they misalign themselves for the cannon shot.
And this is the level I was talking about earlier where health can start to become a problem. And this part right here is where it can become really ugly.
Oh, yeah. So that statue is kind of a fake statue there. It's actually one of the big Chimera enemies, as you can see. They like to shoot fireball projectiles and, all sorts of really powerful attacks. And they have a little bit more health than the last one. So we're going to transmutate a circle here. And, we made it. There we go. Oh! Okay, we're getting there.
I missed the circle because it's really small on the screen. I missed the circle for part of the turnaround and had to fix it.
Yeah, that was good though. We made it. So yeah, sometimes those things can be pretty intricate. Like it'll make you fill in a couple complex patterns back to back. And once again, on controller doing touchscreen stuff, it's tough. It's actually kind of crazy impressive that Queuety's able to do these things on touchscreen with those control schemes.
You are far too kind. Oh. And then for this, we're looking for a pillar that's like a slightly different color. And there it is.
Yep, it's like a little bit lighter than the other ones, and then you can do a transmutation circle in front of it and spawn an elevator. So, gonna be doing this. Yeah, see, filling that out is a lot better than trying to draw that thing on a controller.
Yeah, you can see I wasn't really trying to draw it. I was just spamming left and right, up and down.
Yeah.
And here we are to the final boss.
So this is Dante. So this is the final boss. And interestingly, Rose is an important character in 03, whereas in Brotherhood, she's kind of just a little footnote. So, Dante's going to be, using alchemy to terrorize you with a bunch of really powerful chimeras, rock attacks, things like that. And we're just going to be kind of, reading the patterns of these attacks. That attack right there, you have to move pretty much to the far corner of the screen. She's going to use Cornello's guns, which we just jump on top of and kind of wait out. And then there's going to be some rocks falling. We just run from one side of the screen to the other, from the top to the bottom, and it's easy to dodge.
And we're going to do a few laps of this. As you can see, she's going to do 2 smalls, big, and then 2 smalls, and then a big. If you have low health here, I have plenty of health, so this is great. But if you have low health here, sometimes you can get stun locked in a couple of spots. So I've actually had decent runs die here, even though hopefully, nothing's going to happen here because we got plenty of health. But I have come into this stage with like a sliver of health, and then something stupid like that happens.
Yeah.
You never
Yeah, and Dante's attacks are pretty damaging too, compared to some of the other stuff in the game. So it starts to get a lot when you're getting damage tacked on from these guys being out of whack on their patterns, and if you get hit by something silly from Dante's alchemy spam, it gets crazy. But we're doing pretty good so far. Health is still looking good. Just dodging out all these attacks that we drain Dante of their alchemy. Similarly to Cornello, once they use too much alchemy, they've used too much power, and they kind of go out that way. So yeah, another big Chimera here. We're just going to knock them out. Same strats we've been using, but with an extra combo because these guys are a little beefier.
And that was actually the last enemy of the game.
Yep, there you go. So time will end once Dante is defeated here.
Oh, actually, we have to do...
on the credits, right?
Yeah. We got to do...
Right.
What's his name? Envy.
Oh, right. Yeah, Envy is after this. I totally forgot about that.
I don't count him as an enemy. It's kind of a fake boss fight. The game ends on like a whimper, sadly. But
yeah, it's kind of like because the ending to 03 leads into the movie, so this is kind of like the cliffhanger in a way. But there was never another game to follow this. But this is just kind of lore-related stuff about the Philosopher's Stone, which functions totally differently in 03. Envy's, shape-shifting into all the characters that have been affected by the storyline and alchemy and whatnot. We kind of just whack away at them because, we're just mashing through text until the game ends at this point.
Yeah, so I'm letting them walk into the fist while also you hold attack to mash through the text faster to speed it up. So I'm simultaneously hitting him and speeding it up just to get through this as fast. Time is coming up here in a couple of seconds as soon as I get through these cutscenes.
Nice.
And time.
Yeah, I'm gonna check you.
Awesome. Good work, man. That was great.
Yeah, I have no idea what that time was, but now the game will just kind of cycle through the intro stuff and everything. But yeah, that was decent. It was an entertaining run. It did not go smoothly, but no huge.
It was a lot of fun.
No huge hiccups.
No, that was a good time, man, and that was good on the estimate. On the time that we have is 33:52. So for a marathon, that's great. Yeah. Very good work, dude. No fail on the boulder minigame. Clutch.
I did fail it 3 times yesterday while practicing, so I gave it a little nervous. I was like, I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to get through that.
Man. He went ham and it paid off. So very nice work, dude. So is there any last stuff you want to shout out or any final words for us before we head on to the next run here?
Yeah, well, first off, I got to shout out, ASF for having me. This is an awesome event, raising money for a great cause. So to the extent that you feel like contributing, please do that. Stick around. This is, I think, going through Sunday, so we're only in day 1, right? So plenty more anime games coming up. If you care to watch anything that I run a bunch of different games. I'm on twitch.tv/Queuety. And then I will also do a shout out one for Glitch joining me. Always better to have someone on the couch hanging out with you. And 2,
thanks, man. Yeah.
I think you are running 9 p.m. PST tomorrow, right? So you got your own game coming out if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, right. So actually I moved. So I'll be tomorrow, Saturday at about 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, I'm going to be doing Samurai Champloo as well. So I'll be in the marathon also. But, I had to join your boy Queuety for the dual commentary, for dual sympathy. You know how it is.
Yeah, you got to have 2 for this. Takes 2.
Exactly. It is a group effort. So, yeah, thanks a lot for having us, man. Thank you so much for the shout-outs and for just being a part of the event. It was a great showcase and great commentary. And we'll go ahead and get set up for the next run. Thank you, Queuety.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Stay tuned.